Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Miss Marvel, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm guest Jeff.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Jeff. You all remember we've had Jeff on the podcast previously, and Jeff is here to talk to us today about Miss Marvel, and he participated in our kickoff event for the Appalachian Cup, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. But before we do any of that, how is everyone doing? How are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing great. I had a lovely day with my family, and I'm happy to be here talking to you today.
That's great. How about you, Brad? How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, good. Brandon, how are you? What are you up to?
Me, I've been productive. Productive. I like it.
That's
Everyone,
a lot. That's a lot better than me. I
yeah,
have done.
everyone should be proud. I've been painting models, which is not a thing that I do.
Yeah, I am proud. That is, I is this the first time? What are the
No,
models that you're painting?
not models you'll ever play with me with, but
Okay.
I have not got the courage to paint MCP models yet. But I'm getting there slowly, very slowly.
Boy, you were the sole holdout alongside me who's not a painter. And now I'm just sitting here looking like a complete asshole.
I've yeah, I've still never painted an MCP model. So these are I painted some Necrons, which are way too easy.
And
I really don't deserve extra credit.
and yet, Fred, didn't your model win the painting competition yesterday?
That is true. I have Brad paint my models. I pay him a stipend to paint my models, and or he does it in reward for me driving us to events. And he painted Ronan the Accuser, a new model in my Inhumans list, and one that I had been sleeping on. Everyone should have Ronan the Accuser in their list. He's great. But he won. He won the painting competition at the local tournament because he's
And
very well
you
painted.
and you gave those prizes to the Brad.
That is correct. I did.
I was
Brad
just
got all the
assuming.
credit. Yeah.
I 100% just assumed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we get too deep into talking about the new tournament, let's discuss upcoming events. So, uh, coming up on the 30th of May, there is a tournament at Recess Games in North Olmsted, Ohio. This is going to be their local event. This is not an Appalachian Cup event. So it's probably not going to be as well attended, but everyone should go out if they are in the local area. This is a good group of guys, and they run a good event in a good space. So participate, go play with them. It will be fun. You will enjoy it. Then, coming up on June the 13th, there is going to be a tournament in at the Mischief's Den in Parisburg, Virginia. This is a new thing. JP and Better Brandon are running this event in Parisburg, and I fully intend to participate. I have signed up. I would like to go down there. I believe that Brad is also going.
I plan
Uh,
to. Yep.
yeah. So we're gonna make a trip down into Virginia for our first Virginia tournament. I'm excited. This will be fun. Then on the 20th of June is the Lost Legion Games and Comics tournament for the Appalachian Cup. That is our local game store, and I want to fill the place up. Let's get the place completely packed. It will be fun. I'm excited. I hope they fix the bathroom. It will be a good time. It will be a very good time. Uh, and then on the 27th of June, I'm just going all through June, there is an affiliation match at the Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have done an affiliation match before. They are fun. It is fun to limit what you can pick,
fun to make it so you have to come up with solutions to problems that limit what you are allowed to play, and affiliation matches are good like that.
And
I have. Oh, go ahead.
and now
Go ahead.
now we have enough Sentinels to actually field an affiliation roster.
That's
Before
true.
we really didn't. So now you can bring Sentinels to your affiliation battle.
Right. Instead of just having 5 people in your roster entirely,
Yep.
you can now field 9. I actually I'm not sure.
10, right?
10. Yeah, you could field 10. But will the Prime Sentinels be out by then?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Alrighty. Well, those are the upcoming events. I do not believe that we have any news out of AMG.
We have
as
news
right
of
now.
no news.
We
We were
have
told
news- oh,
that
you're
there's a
right.
delay in character updates.
Yes, the character updates have been delayed to July, which is a shame, but I want them to get this correct. So I want them to take as much time as they need to get this correct. That is what I'm hoping for.
So, Fred, when
So-
it comes out and there are mistakes, how mad are you going to be?
Oh boy, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna call it out when they print a card for Nimrod that has an active superpower symbol where it should be a reactive superpower symbol. I will be mad.
They forget to say once per turn, or they forget. I don't know. They've done a couple things now.
Yeah.
Make the spender free.
Yes, that's a bad one.
They did.
Yeah, that was
they've done
rough.
that one twice.
Uh-huh.
Something that I'm sure they playtest and tinker with, and then just don't put in the final thing.
Yeah.
My guess is that there was like an older version that got printed off. Like it's saved on the file somewhere, and someone said, print off a bunch of these, and the intern went and printed the wrong file. Oh well. That is all we know for AMG news, for the AMG news segment.
And technically, we have new crises are legal technically coming up in June. Although I think everyone's playing with them already.
Yes. Yeah, I've played with them some already, and I already have ones that I like and ones that I hate.
I
And
still
already
haven't
with our
played the X-Men one where they move
Oh.
and they have the arc.
spotlights.
Yeah. Not played that one yet.
Me either.
Spoiler alert: we did play new crises for our App Cup tournament.
We did.
That's true. All right. Well, I think that we should move into games that we've played recently. So this is going to be mostly Brad, myself, and Jeff talking about the tournament that we were just a part of. But before we get there, Brandon, do you have any games that you want to talk about?
No, you guys talked about all the games that I played recently.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's get right into it. So we had 14 people participating in this tournament. It was going to be 16, but someone didn't make it. And because of that, Bryce dropped so that we would have an even number and no one would have to take a bye, which I appreciate. Thank you, Bryce. All right. We'll begin with my first round. My first round opponent was Dawn, who has in the past played an unaffiliated list. He plays this very cool list of characters that are painted to be DC characters. So it's a lot of fun. I like that he does that. We were playing at a threat value of 16 on Skrulls and on assault ships. And that's because I won priority, and that means that I chose my red cards. And he drew Skrulls, and then I picked assault ships, and he picked 16 threat, which is not a great place for me, but I did the best I could with that. He has Namor and Blue Marvel in his roster. And my thoughts when I see both of those are, I cannot put the King Black Bolt, my favorite model, on the table, or else Namor will eat his lunch. I think Namor is a good counter to King Black Bolt because he avoids the damage reduction, and Blue Marvel is just a bomb that will destroy any low threat models that I put on the table. So at 16, I went with 4 threat models. I went with Maximus the Mad, Medusa, Ronan the Accuser, and Shang-Chi. Don went with a completely different list than I was thinking he was going to go with. He brought Spider-Woman and 4 threes. He brought Echo, Hawkeye, Black Cat, and Quicksilver. Yeah. So he was wider than I was going into this match. In round 1, we just took our associated points. I ended up with 2 Skrulls and 2 dudes on my closest assault ship points, and he took his 2 Skrulls and 2 people on his assault ships. But then at the very end, he ran Quicksilver down and contested one of mine. So I score 3 points to his 4. Round 2 happens, and he tries to do some stuff with Hawkeye, trying to take out Shang-Chi. And I believe that he is successful at taking out Shang-Chi with Hawkeye in round 2. He dazes Shang-Chi, but Ronan the Accuser is there, and he's able to hold the point down. Medusa is bullies his assault ship, and I take that point. And Maximus the Mad chases off Quicksilver. And we both score 4 points at the end of this round. So I'm just 1 point behind and keeping parity. Round 3 happens, and Shang-Chi goes off. Shang-Chi is a huge problem at this point. He is beating the tar out of anyone who comes close to him, and because he counts blanks, and because I was rolling very well, as in I was rolling lots of blanks for him, I was able to avoid having him get taken off the table, which was very clutch for me. Ronan the Accuser was a bully. He was chasing people towards his assault ship points, and he didn't have a way to deal a large amount of damage really fast with the roster that he had brought. And Ronan was just this terrifying entity that was an unstoppable force heading towards him. In round 4 of this game, again, we scored parity, 4-4. In round 4, Ronan was heading towards his assault ships, and Spider-Woman dazes Ronan. This is clutch because Ronan uses his ability where he can then move towards her and make one attack before he is dazed. He moves towards her and spends for a spender, and I think I do like 2 damage. I do an inconsequential amount of damage to Spider-Woman. However, I did roll a wild, and Hawkeye was right next to her, and Hawkeye had 1 hit point remaining. And I daze Hawkeye with the explosive trigger on my spender, and that is a huge swing in this game. That means that I have better activations. He doesn't have Hawkeye, who's his best way to deal with Shang-Chi. He can't stop me from controlling my side of the battlefield with Shang-Chi. And I win this game by scoring, I think I score most of the points on the table this round. And I pull out at 19-16. Don is a great opponent. Don knows what he's doing. He's playing this game very well, but he's playing an unaffiliated roster. And I think that in this game, I was expecting him to drop Blue Marvel and Namor, and I brought a team to maybe deal with that. And he tried to out-wide me, and he was not able to kill me. He wasn't able to defeat the people that I brought, and it felt really good. I really liked going 4 4s at 16. It feels great. That is my round 1. I pulled out a win. Brad, why don't you tell us about your first round?
I played Brian, who's playing Defenders. We played Sentinel Schematics, which I believe is like the 3 in the middle, but they are supplies. So you have to like pull them out every turn. I think that's the right one. And assault ships, which is the new like parallelogram secure that lets you reroll attack dice. And I've been really liking it with the Sentinels. We play at 17 threat. So I played Bastion as my leader, Nimrod, and then 2 Mark IVs. He played Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, Echo, Tigra, Wong. Nimrod is at the secure that can reach the other 2, at least if you have long enough attacks. So like the one that's, if you look side to side, is in between the opponents 2. And everyone on my team rolled terrible in this game, except Nimrod. I didn't roll any defense dice on anyone else. I didn't really roll any hits on anybody else. Bastion died to 2 Moon Knight activations. Died completely off the table.
Man.
Moon Knight
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight was a terror in this game. Just absolutely destroyed me. Then Nimrod took out Echo pretty early in the game. Him and a Mark IV did daze Stephen Strange. And then after Stephen Strange flipped, Nimrod just killed him. Just 2 attacks, throwing him into Wong, killed him. Tigra and Moon Knight fully killed one of my Mark IVs. So at the end of the game, I only had 2 models. The Mark IV that was flipped, he moved Moon Knight up. He did the spender, thinking that he was going to place after it was done onto the point. Well, the spender killed the Mark IV. I blew up the Mark IV, leaving Moon Knight at 1, and then he realized, oh yeah, if he killed the Sentinel, he wasn't going to get to place. So he was stranded out in the open. But he looked at that situation and he said, oh, I took out another model. He's down to just 2 models. The Sentinel Mark IV wasn't sitting on a point. I'm just going to go hard into me. And he moved Tigra off the point to attack Nimrod, and then he also pounced into Nimrod. But that was the first time a throw had been done that game, so I just played Brace. And then between Nimrod and the Sentinel, I took care of Tigra the next turn before she got to activate, and really just played a very strong scenario fight at the end to recover from a bad situation off the back of Nimrod to win this game 16-14. At the end of the game, I asked Brian if he knew where he messed up, and he wanted to know what I thought, and so I told him it was when Tigra moved off the point. If he had just stayed over there on the point, he would have won.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah. I am guilty of this. I do this sort of thing all the time.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Well, congratulations, Brad. Jeff, what is your first game. How did your first game go?
Thanks. So just to set the table here a little bit, this is our first App Cup tournament, right? And we decided to play New Crises, and that kind of throws everyone into a little space where they're not quite sure what's good and what's bad, although we have some ideas. And I've been playing Kingpin, but didn't really want to bring him again. I wanted to bring something different, so I decided to go back to Inhumans. And now, unlike Fred, I am playing mostly a Black Bolt Inhumans list. So I was trying out Inhumans through some practice games this week and some different combinations of things, but ended up bringing a list that had Black Bolt and Medusa, which are my core Inhumans. I just think they're the best, generically great Inhumans. And then Karnak, Quicksilver, Ms. Marvel, and Gorgon as a varied group of 3 threats. And my splashes are Namor, Shang-Chi, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Baron Zemo. I think that's everything there. And obviously I'm playing a lot of civilians because Terrigenesis is just such a good card. So I thought just being very consistent with rerolls and playing Terrigenesis would be good here. And in
Jeff?
my first, yeah?
Are you playing all civilians for your Reds?
Correct. So
Okay.
I am bringing Scrolls, Spider Infected, Unexpected Guest, Mutant Extremist target U.S. Senators, and Surprise Assault Mutant Homes Destroyed.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
I do want. Can I dive in here? That is almost exactly the same Reds as I do, except I don't have Surprise Assault. I have Jailbreak.
oh
and
man, I think Jailbreak's not
I'm
great
changing
here.
it.
Yeah.
I'm changing it. The reason why I had Jailbreak is that it's 20 threat instead of 16, which is what
Mhm.
Surprise Assault is. And Jailbreak is just problematic with how far back those sources are.
Yeah.
And you are correct. It should be Surprise Assault. I'm changing that now because that is what it should be.
Yeah. I think that's a much better. Well, you don't play Black Bolt and Medusa as much as I do, but I think they are both much better on that map as compared to Jailbreak. And when I had to play Jailbreak, I couldn't bring Medusa. I had to bring some other stuff because I think it was too far apart.
Yeah, I do play Medusa a lot. Medusa is great, and I think that the Jailbreak one is. The rest of the Inhumans also don't want to be there. They want to fight in the middle. So it should I'm switching it right now while we're talking.
Yeah. You got to do it. And with the new crises, people are going to bring a different, varied, new stuff. They've obviously lost some crises. They're going to have to choose some new ones. So I thought there'd be a good amount of civilians in other people's list as well. And spoiler alert, I played on 4 civilian extracts this tournament, which helped a lot because Terrigenesis I think went off 3 out of 4 games in this tournament.
I'm jealous. I had it as an option in 3 out of 4 of the games. One of the games was an asset, and in every single one, I whiffed the roll.
Oh,
I whiffed the roll.
And you still went 2-2.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. If you had gotten the other 2, I'm not sure if you had both options there. But do you think you would have won those games?
The 2 of the 3 that I whiffed were 2 wins. I did win. The third one. Oh, the third one would have been it would have been close.
I would have swung at 3 VP, and
maybe. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Oh well.
So into my first round. So I'm playing Johnny Blasto. I think is a Ohio player. He was playing a Cyclops X-Men list. I was bringing Black Bolt Inhumans. We were playing Spider Infected and Strike Team. So Strike Team is a newly legal physical pay to flip on a D formation. And Spider Infected is on the F. So lots of points, and we were all kind of ending up on 2 flanks here. We played it 17 threat. I believe my opponent brought Cyclops, Emma Frost, Gambit, Toad, and Logan. And I brought Black Bolt, Medusa, Gorgon, and Namor. So I was only 4 wide. He was 5. And basically, I lined up Black Bolt on one flank against a Cyclops and an Emma. In the first round, my Namor grabbed my middle back D and then kind of moved forward in the middle of the board to get ready to charge into the next round because my opponent did get first activation and grabbed the middle point with Toad, unfortunately, and then was able to keep him a little bit safe. And then Medusa and Gorgon were my final characters on the other flank, and they were kind of facing Logan. And my opponent's Gambit didn't do a lot this game, unfortunately. So Spider Infected in the power phase you roll, and your characters holding the extract might get advanced short. So his Gambit got advanced short a lot, kind of out of his ranges. And eventually, Namor was just able to walk up to Gambit and daze him and take his extract near the end of the game here. So Gambit, I don't think, made a single attack, unfortunately. Cyclops and Emma went up against Black Bolt. Black Bolt got walked a lot from the extract, the Spider Infected, but his Cyclops and Emma then just kind of had very ineffective activations on a flank, and eventually Black Bolt was able to just hold on to an extract and rotate onto my back D as well. Medusa and Gorgon were kind of facing Logan on the other flank, and if Logan was going to attack into Medusa, he couldn't do his rerolls, and Medusa was able to move Logan around and keep him off the point. And so I think throughout this game, I was basically controlling 3 of the pay-to flips and mostly 3 of the extracts. And in the final round, I was able to Terragenesis and take out Toad and Gambit and hold on to enough extracts and points that I won this game. I believe the final score was 17-12, and that was at the end of 3 game rounds. So I had to finish strong there, but I was able to just rotate onto his back D and do that.
All right. Well, congratulations, Jeff, on pulling out a win. Having Terragenesis is just such a strong card. Are you worried about them removing Terragenesis from us, from Inhumans players?
Do I think they will, or am I worried about it? I think Inhumans will function without it. I think it's still one of the best cards in the game, and I'm not sure, but it's more likely than most that it will rotate out.
I agree. It is kind of a problem. Everyone in my local meta is intentionally removing civilians from their extracts just for the matchup into me. And that's an interesting circumstance to find yourself in, where there's one card that's shaping the meta. And I love Terragenesis. I think it's great. They've already taken away Great Refuge, which really hurt, and I really don't want them to take away Terragenesis, but I think it's possible they could get rid of it.
Yeah, I would like to see it rebalanced, maybe. Just like Robbery with Rhino, where they made that 4 power, right, from 2 or something. They could just up the power of some of these things, and it would be a lot more healthy. Like, even Great Refuge, I think if they just up the power, it would be totally legal and fine.
Yeah, I agree. I really don't think Great Refuge was even a problem. I think it just allowed for some round 1 shenanigans where you can attack their backline, and they hate it when you can do that.
Yeah, AMG seems really sensitive to kind of round 1 shenanigans, where now they've removed a lot of safe grabs from the game, or what was the range 2 grab that we used to have a couple years ago?
Eyes on the prize?
I believe
Is that what
so,
it was? Yeah.
So they're getting a lot. I think they're a lot more sensitive to those things and less sensitive to things that happen in later rounds. So we shall see. Presumably in the character update, they might do a rotation of tactics cards in July. TBD.
TBD. I'm hoping I keep Terragenesis, or I get back Great Refuge and they take it away. Whichever. Oh well. All right,
yeah.
let's. Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure it'll force me to change playing Inhumans, but it'll be interesting.
I don't. I would still play Inhumans even without Terragenesis. I like them enough that one card is not the only thing that's keeping me there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the games that Terra Genesis wins, I would be at least 50-50 on. So
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to round two. So my round two opponent was Memphis, who we've had on the podcast before. He's a local to us, and he's a real nice guy, and we like it when he comes to tournaments with us. And he is also a dice wizard who can make his dice do whatever he wants them to do. Um, so we were playing on Unexpected Guests and Deadly Meteors. Uh, it was my Unexpected Guests and his Deadly Meteors because I do not have any pay to flips in my list. After this game, I genuinely consider putting Deadly Meteors in my roster because it is absolute fodder for King Black Bolt. King Black Bolt. Let me go over the lists. I played King Black Bolt, Maximus the Mad, Medusa, and Gorgon at 17 threat. Memphis played Cable, Domino, Deadpool, Baron Zemo, and Gambit at 17th threat. On Deadly Meteors, in round one, I was able to deliver King Black Bolt into a location where he could beam two people and then hit and run himself onto the middle point and be lined up where he could hit four people in one at the top of the next round. And that is exactly what happened. He beamed and caused havoc. Gambit was able to dance away as he usually does. So my second beam, which followed right after the first, was not as devastating, but it still was devastating. And that set the tone for this game. King Black Bolt was a terror. Cable does eventually daze King Black Bolt, and when that happens, King Black Bolt is suddenly sitting on enough power to do everything he wants to do. King Black Bolt loves a tight, in the middle fight with lots of people. He is so good at this, and he can really ruin your opponent's day. I do okay with Medusa. Gorgon does very little. I think the biggest thing that Gorgon did was he was a threat to Bodyguard a couple times. And that's really all he did, but that's all he really needs to do. Maximus the Mad did some work on my right flank, but this game is about King Black Bolt fighting all of the X-Force and coming out victorious. And it felt really good. After this game, Memphis said to me, I don't know how to fight King Black Bolt. I don't know what to do. And I didn't know what to say to him. There are models that do a very good job of fighting King Black Bolt, like Namor. Being able to get past the damage reduction is a good option. But man, oh man, this was a masterclass in King Black Bolt doing what King Black Bolt does. And I win this game pretty handily, 16-9. This was this was all on the shoulders of my favorite sixth threat.
yeah, I have Meteors in my list too, Fred, and I do think, even though we play different in Humans, it's really great.
I should put it in. I think it's good for their play pattern.
Yeah, I mean, King Black Bolt with, 4 energy defense, hit and run, plus line them all up, you're very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that was the long and short of my round two. Brad, what happened in your second round?
All right, I played Mac, the Mac from Pittsburgh, who I've played before. He always gives a good game. And he was playing Sam Avengers, and him and Bryce were actually joking about playing. Oh, what term did they use? I don't think they said old school Marvel, but Boomer Marvel. They called it Boomer Marvel because he played in our game. Sorry. Sam Wilson, original Tony Stark, Iron Fist, Spider Woman, and original Black Panther. Like, except for Spider Woman, all of those models are from like the first year of the game, maybe not first 6 months of the game. Um, just playing an old list. I played. It was 17 points, so I played the exact same thing. Two Mark IVs, Bastion, Nimrod. We played on Unexpected Guest and Infinity Formula. So this ends up, Infinity Formula ends up in two fights. On my right, it is Nimrod and a Mark IV versus Tony Stark Iron Man. That's it. That's the only model he had on that side. So on the other side is my other Mark IV and Bastion against the rest of his entire list. I played Directive 1, turn 2. He didn't have any defensive rerolls, but he had some stealth models like Spider Woman and a couple other. And he had Black Panther behind a big rock, so I couldn't actually see him and stuff like that. So it seemed like a good time to play. I succeed in powering up Spider Woman so that she could steal an extract from my Mark IV. That was not great. I do daze Sam turn 2 and kill him turn 3. I daze Iron Man 1 and turn 2 and kill him top of turn 3 with Nimrod. He was going to absolutely Helios laser Nimrod had I not killed Tony Stark right then and there. So I went ahead and did it. But because I did that, he ends up dazing Bastion and activating my Mark IV with Iron Fist on the other side. Iron Fist had like 1 or 2 health away from dying for like 5 attacks. And I just could not get the last couple damage through to take him out. He did get ahead of me 2 points on turn, I think it was on turn 3. And then we just score every other turn. We both score 4 each. And it's one of those times where like he got ahead. I didn't have my models in the right spots to catch back up. At the very end of the game, like I just wasn't paying enough attention to realize that he was going to win. And he might even let me have taken this back and actually done it, but I don't think I win even if I do it. I could double move a Sentinel and pull Iron Fist off of a point and keep him from winning. But then I'm pretty sure I just lose after that anyway. So yeah.
Yeah,
Just didn't go my way. That's fine.
that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear you lost, Brad. Jeff, how did your second round go?
So I was paired up against Tom. Tom, who is our reigning champion of the Appalachian Cup, and also just had a dominant season last season. And he was bringing a Guardians and Kingpin split list. He was trying out Adam Warlock, and I think he basically told me he was trying Adam Warlock in this game. So I do think my list does well into a Kingpin, but basically he was saying, I'm going to do the Guardians thing. So we were playing at Jailbreak and Deadly Meteors at 20 threat, and Tom did in fact bring Adam Warlock, Nebula, Echo, Bill, and Black Cat. And I brought Black Bolt, Namor, Karnak, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ms. Marvel. And again, I don't think Jailbreak is really great. It doesn't give me a ton of options to do Terrigenesis or really mix it up in the middle of the board. And Tom played this really smartly, where he was not picking up extracts, civilians from his jailbreaks until very late in the round, and in ways where he knew I couldn't get to him to Terrigenesis. I don't even believe I did Terrigenesis this game. If I did, it didn't really matter. Basically, Tom was attempting to go all in on aggression here and couldn't quite pull it out. While he did KO Black Bolt in the middle of the board, Namor was able to kind of control one flank against Bill and eventually Nebula and Echo, and then Ultimate Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel were able to kind of control the other flank against like a Black Cat and who else was over there? It was probably his Echo was over there for a while, and his Atom was kind of staying back a little bit in one corner of the board. And near the end of this game, I was just too spread out for him to stop me from scoring to 16. Like, I was basically at Ultimate Spider-Man, who was on one jailbreak picking up his side. I had my Ms. Marvel on my jailbreak side picking up that one, Namor on one corner picking up that other jailbreak, plus I was controlling, I think, maybe two of the meteors in the middle of the table, and then he wasn't able to just pick off my people and do the pay-to-flips all quickly enough to win. Karnak did a great spender into Black Cat, so this is kind of, I think it's a 7 dice where we count both of our skulls, and that ended up being just enough of, number of dice against Black Cat to actually take her down. And Tom, well, we discussed this. I said, you don't want to change with the Adam Warlock leadership to be on 1 life left, because I will Terrigenesis you. So he smartly dazed Black Cat, and Karnak just picked up her point that she was holding, the extract. Plus, he was staying within range 2 of Adam Warlock and was able to actually weather the Adam Warlock attacks. And Karnak also jumped in front of a big spender that Adam Warlock was doing towards Black Bolt as well. So Karnak was great in this game. I loved him. He is not an always piece, obviously, but he was very fun to bring here. Not only that, but he activated, moved up to my jailbreak, picked up a thing, meditated, and passes a power back. And now Ultimate Spider-Man is threatening, a web swing into a 7 dice physical, into maybe another 7 dice physical, or, there's a lot of things that can happen there. So he was great. I think Karnak is really awesome when you can put him on a back point, meditate, and start passing power back to your other players.
I have been a huge fan of Karnak just recently. In my early time with Inhumans, I was having a lot of trouble getting him to do anything. And once I figure out how to deliver him to the place he needs to be, which is either through Royal Guardians, the card, or through telepathic command from King Black Bolt, I find that he can do so much work if he's in the right spot.
Yeah, you definitely inspired me talking about Royal Guardians, him into the mix, and I think that is an awesome way to deliver him to a place where he's really effective. Because if he's not within range 2 of the enemy attacking him, it's really hard to make him really effective. So Royal Guardians is an amazing way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, congratulations on winning against Tom. That is something that very few people can say they have done.
Yeah, I'm in a select group. We discussed this game a lot, and he is not sold on Adam Warlock. So this may be something, who's limit testing. So I'm not going to say this was his best game ever, but I'll take the win.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. All right, let's go into round 3. My round 3 opponent was Jason from Pittsburgh. And we were playing on Jailbreak and on Superpowered Scoundrels. My roster, and we were playing at 20 threat. My roster was King Black Bolt, Maximus the Mad. I had Ronan the Accuser, Gorgon, and Baron Zemo. His roster was Gladiator, Professor X. Oh boy. I'm gonna blank on some of these. He had Iceman and Magic.
And another 4 threat, who for some reason, oh, it was Emma Frost. How did I forget it was Emma Frost? That is going to be relevant later in this game. All right, so I knew, having played against Gladiator a few times with JP, Gladiator is going to be charging at me round 1. He has Professor X, so he has the ability to give enough power to Gladiator that he can charge round 1. And I knew exactly who I wanted him to charge, so I was able to finagle it that Ronan the Accuser was standing on the center point, and Gladiator charges Ronan the Accuser. The moment he charges me, I put Judgment on Gladiator. This was huge for me. This kept me in this game and let me do damage to Gladiator without him being powered up enough to be able to just destroy everything in the game. This game is dominated by lots of times where a model tries to kill another model and misses the kill by 1 damage on both sides. Gladiator in round 2 charges down and attacks my Baron Zemo and Maximus the Mad. He attacks Baron Zemo once. He does 4 damage. So Baron Zemo counterstrikes and hits him back and takes away one of his confidence tokens. This happens a couple times where he attacks Baron Zemo. It happens at least twice in this game where he attacks Baron Zemo, fails to kill him, and I counterstrike and take away a confidence token.
That is so clutch. Baron Zemo has saved my butt in this game with that counterstrike ability. He then beams both Baron Zemo and Maximus the Mad. He dazes Baron Zemo, but Maximus the Mad survives with 1 hit point, and he proceeds to daze Gladiator with a spender and then a builder. I spender him and builder him and take him down, which was huge, dazing Gladiator. I end up KOing Gladiator in this game, which feels great. It's always nice to KO Gladiator. This being Superpowered Scoundrels, I delivered King Blackbolt to the middle, and King Blackbolt started screaming at Iceman and Magic and Professor X and pushed them all over the place, doing a lot of damage. And Ronan went to bully Emma Frost. Ronan is able to daze Emma Frost with a very lucky spender. I think I rolled 8 successes on 8 dice, just through my dice fixing and through good luck and a couple crits. I am able to daze her even when she flips into her diamond state in like round 2. So things are looking up for me. Here's the problem with Jailbreak. I needed a good Terrigenesis to win this game. This game was really close. This was knife edge close. An extra damage at the right place would have been the difference between me winning and losing this game. Had I been able to Terrigenesis, I think I win this game. But it's just like Jeff said in his last game, where Jason is a good enough player that he knows not to pick up a civilian token until near the end of the round. And when he does, there's no one on my side who is able to get there and Terrigenesis the person who picked it up. This is another reason why Jailbreak is a problem and why I'm getting rid of it, because it's so spread apart. There's no way for me to pick up and go Terrigenesis someone after they've picked up a civilian, because they're usually way far away from me. In the final round of this game, Gladiator has 1 hit point and is bleeding, and proceeds to daze 2 of my models. I think he dazes Maximus the Mad and Gorgon, and
I am not able to come back from that. He dazes both of them and then KOs to bleeding. Had I dazed him or KO'd him instead of leaving him on 1 hit point, I think I win this game. There's so many times where I feel like I could have won this game had things been just a little bit more in my favor. But also, it goes the same way. There were a bunch of times where he did just not quite enough damage to Baron Zemo, and Baron Zemo did a lot of damage back. So, that's how this game plays. And I end up losing this game 18-14. I think that both him and I would say that this is an incredibly close game. This came down to the wire, but he pulled it out in the end. He is a very good player, and Gladiator is a hell of a model. I feel like he doesn't get enough attention. If you can feed Gladiator power, he is going to be very effective. All right. That is the end of my round 3. I end up losing. So, Brad, how was your round 3?
I played a gentleman who was playing Shield. We drew Inhumans Deploy Advanced Weaponry and Guardian Save Empress, which is a pay-to-flip. He plays Namor Leadership, Hawkeye, Nick Fury Jr., and Omega Sentinel and Nebula, which, Omega Sentinel and a pay-to-flip, good choice. I made that same choice. So I played Bastion, Omega Sentinel, Mark IV Prime, and Nimrod, because I love Nimrod. And so, similar to the last game, this devolves into 2 fights. For the first round and a half, on my left is Sentinel Mark IV Prime and Bastion, and he has Nick Fury Jr. and Omega Sentinel. And on the other side, I have Nimrod and Omega Sentinel, and he has Nebula, Namor, Hawkeye. He gets first activation and picks up both of the extracts on the side with Nick Fury. Grunts get 1, Nick Fury gets 1. On that side, Bastion teleports the Prime Sentinel up, Mark IV Prime Sentinel, and ends up just moving on to the point. That was later, but that's what happened. So that the Mark IV Prime can double blast Nick Fury and take him out. I think what happened was I blasted him once. I go to blast him a second time, and he eye in the skies, and then I pull him back in and then blast him and take him out and take his thing. Oh, Bastion also killed the Sentinel grunts, but they just dropped the thing backwards so that Omega can pick it up. She flees, turn 2, to the other side of the board. On the other side, Namor picks up one of the ones, and my Omega Sentinel picks up the other. He did an attack into Omega Sentinel with Hawkeye. Nebula ends up attacking Nimrod, who I had double moved so that he was not sitting on my point. So she didn't get any rerolls, which was very nice. So she did nothing that first turn except gain a power. That side of the board, what the things that went wrong are that Namor failed an uncontested flip, and then um, the next turn didn't have enough power to charge. After that, so Namor was pretty neutered because everyone else was on his side, the other side of the board. Like Namor was like sitting next to my point, and then everyone else was fighting on the other. There were so many times he made attacks, and I just rolled as many blocks as him. Like there was, finally I rolled 6. I'm sorry, man. I also have 6. I don't know what to tell you. I have 6 blocks as well. It happened so many times. He did flip Nimrod. Um, I don't even remember who did all that damage. I think a combination of everyone. But then on the other side, he kept going to 1 health left, and then I would activate Nimrod, and he would healing factor, and then he'd attack him with someone else later, and he was at 1 health. And then the next turn, I could activate him and healing, and then he just survived the whole game with like barely any health on his backside. The Mark IV managed to pull Omega Sentinel back over to the side after him and Bastion, mostly him, killed Nick Fury and daze her and finally pick up that point she got at the very beginning of the game with Bastion. Picked it up with Bastion. I had 4 solid points on that, plus picking up points on the other side. This is where, like, opposite of the last game, where, 2 different fights, I win one side, but the other side went well enough to get me up in points to win out 17-14. Bryce was talking about he likes to play 8 points on the board because oftentimes in that game, whoever can get out ahead first ends up winning. And it does seem like in both of my games for this tournament where we played 8 points, that's exactly what happened. One to my detriment.
Okay. Yeah. I find with Namor, if he is not able to get off his charge stagger, it is so disheartening to whoever is playing him. This happened in a game, my most recent game against Daniel, where Namor just was not able to get any damage through on his charges. Because it is dice dependent, and if you're able to get damage through, you do a stagger. But like you were saying, when he rolled 6, you also rolled 6, and you took no damage. So when that happens, it really is a hard detriment to Namor, and that's purely dice. That's just dice.
Yeah, it's such a low chance that you don't get the stagger off, but when you don't, it feels so bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations, Brad. So you and I are both 2-1, and Jeff, why don't you tell us how your 3rd round went?
Yep. So I was 2-0 going in and playing Mac, who was Brad's 2nd round opponent, who's also 2-0. And again, this Mac was playing Boomer MCP. So we ended up playing at 20 threat on Scrolls, Infiltrate, and Infinity formula. And Mac brought Sam Wilson, Iron Fist, Black Panther 1, Miles Morales 1, Spider-Woman, and Spectacular Spider-Man. And this was an Avengers list who's going 6 wide. And I went just 5 wide with Black Bolt, Ms. Marvel, Medusa, Namor, and Baron Zemo. And I ended up lining up Medusa and Namor on one side of the board against Mac, who had lined up basically Miles 1, Iron Fist, and I think Sam Wilson on that side. And then my Black Bolt and Ms. Marvel were on the other side, and they were lined up against a spectacular Spider Man and a Spider Woman. And then my Baron Zemo was going to run to the middle and grab that extract while I think his actual Sam picked up his middle extract as well, but then was able to bounce to the side point as as Zemo was able to do as well. So I actually think I lost first activation here, and Mac was able to run up and grab the flank extract with Iron Fist. And Iron Fist is a pretty tanky model, and I think I already made a mistake in this game when I should have passed a power to Namor to immediately charge and attack Iron Fist in the first, basically, activation here. And I just decided, or I forgot to do so. But that is kind of the power of Black Bolt, being able to turn on charges that are really effective against midline targets. So Namor should have charged, but didn't. He just moved up and attacked, but did end up leaving Iron Fist on 1 health. So a very effective attack, and I was pretty happy about that no matter what. I still had Medusa on that side, who's going to try to finish off. And part of what this list does as well is put Medusa either next to Baron Zemo or Namor, or both. And so now we're looking at triple rerolls or double rerolls on my characters, and that ends up being really effective. There's just a huge weight of rerolls that Inhumans bring. And Fred knows this with Maximus the Mad, who introduces another reroll to the affiliation as well. If you just reroll basically all of your dice all game long, you're going to be doing better than the average opponent. And in the end, Medusa was able to daze Iron Fist and take his. Well, I wasn't able. Yeah, I was not able. No, I think I was actually. So what ended up happening is that Iron Fist played fallback, so he was able to move backwards before damage. He then dazed. He then dropped, but Medusa was able to be passed a power from Namor. So she got 1 at the beginning, 1 from the damage, and 1 from the pass. So she was able to Royal Decree off Namor and actually pick up that extract. So even though Mac was able to fall back, I was still able to grab the extract instead of allowing Mac to grab it himself later on the round. And my Namor was standing on my Infinity formula still, so I was already winning that side of the board pretty well. On the other side, Mac was really worried about going to grab the midpoint against a Black Bolt and a Ms. Marvel, which he should be. And I think in the end, I ended up running up and grabbing that point with Black Bolt, because Black Bolt in the middle of the table is just going to be more effective. When Black Bolt has to move, it feels not as nice. So he ended up grabbing that point, and Mac was kind of holding on to his back Infinity formula. The rest of this game was pretty good. I was winning the flank with Black Bolt, Ms. Marvel, and Baron Zemo against Spectacular Spider-Man and Spider-Woman. I do think Spider-Woman kind of dies to attacks within range 3 and not range 2, and Black Bolt was able to do those, and Baron Zemo was able to do that with his spender. So I think Spider-Woman kind of dazed, and then she woke up, and of course her spender drops my extract off of me. So he did that for sure. And Spectacular Spider-Man was able to, I think, take my back Infinity at one point by living on 1 health and throwing my character off of it. And on the other flank, Iron Fist, who woke up from dazed. Well, first, my Medusa, who took a lot of damage, then moved into a position where she could area attack her spender on 3 enemy characters. So I think this Medusa area attack spender is actually really good, especially when you can attack 3 characters with it. It's like 7 dice physical. Obviously, she has Inhuman reroll. She places all of the targets range 1 of herself, and on wild gives out bleed. Unfortunately, this attack did not do a lot of damage, but I was able to kind of place them all off the point, making him have to spend actions or power to get back onto it. and give out bleed. This was important because Iron Fist had 1 health remaining and a bleed on him. So Iron Fist, when he was about to die, went and spendered my Namor, activating him, and then fell over dead. But my Namor was already activated, and I think Black Panther basically pushed him off the point as well. So Namor did absolutely nothing in that second round, while I think Medusa also dazed and dropped her extract. So that flank was pretty rough, but I definitely had done some damage and taken out Iron Fist already. Now through the later rounds, and this was a 5 round game, Mac ended up holding, I think, 3 extracts because Spider Woman woke up and was able to spend her pick up, long move, and glide range 2, possibly. And Spectacular Spider Man was kind of just holding down his other points. Black Panther was holding down my side Infinity, and then Sam and Miles Morales was holding down his side Infinity. And I think what ended up happening is that we were both around 10 victory points, and Mac was looking at possibly scoring 6 to win. And my Medusa, who is activated but standing within range 3 of a Black Panther, in my final 2 activations of a round, I was able to take out, or at least daze Spectacular Spider Man, take another point, and Terrigenesis off of a activated Medusa onto his Black Panther, needing 2 successes and getting them. And that stopped Mac from scoring out and ended up at the end of that round 15 to 14. So I stopped him from winning, and I was now ahead on VPs. And in the last round, I scored 4 and he scored 4, and we ended the game 19 to 18, and I had won. And that was pretty tough because he really was trying to win the game there because I was starting to get momentum. And Terrigenesis, just the 50-50, was able to pull it out on that roll. So, again, Terrigenesis is a great card.
Terrigenesis saving the day.
Yeah. I had a hard time pushing damage through Black Panther this game, and getting him down to 2 and Terrigenesising him was the best I could hope for, and it ended up working.
Good job. Good job. All right. Well, so you are now 3-0, and let's move on to the final round of this tournament, round 4. So Brad and I were paired against each other in round 4, which is unfortunate because we play each other a lot, but it happens, you know. That's how it plays out sometimes. And so in this game, we drew Experimental Soldiers and Safe Shelter. Those are both new crises. And can I just say that this pairing of crises is terrible for me.
Oh,
Fred,
I thought it was great for me.
Oh, yeah. I usually like Safe Shelter. Safe Shelter is not bad for the Inhumans, but Experimental Soldiers it's the one where it is a source asset extract where you pick up an extract from the source, and when you're holding it, you get a reroll on your defense dice. And then it'll go away during the cleanup phase. The way that they are distributed, they are 3 across the middle, and they are just far enough apart from the 3 secures that there is no way for a medium base to be oriented where he can be on both the asset and the secure. You can't be a medium base and be on both. But you can be a large base, and guess what I have none of? I have no large bases, and guess what the Sentinels have? Nothing but. So we were going into this, I was already at a strong disadvantage. This was not looking good for me. We were playing at 20 threat, which I think, I don't know, I forget what the other option was, but it may have been 16. I don't remember. But I'm looking back, I probably should have picked the other option. At 20 threat, I played Maximus the Mad, King Black Bolt,
Karnak, Baron Zemo, and Ronan the Accuser. And Brad played Nimrod, Bastion,
2 Mark IVs and Baron Zemo.
there you go. It was Baron Zemo that I was having trouble remembering. You had him as well. Yeah. Round one, I think I scored 2 victory points. I think I get 1 secure, and I'm able to hold 1 of the extracts. And Brad picks up 4 victory points, or 4 or 3. I think we contested one of the middle secures.
So the one I didn't get was Fred actually picked up 2 of the extracts. One on Ronan, and Nimrod ends up dazing Ronan. But then Fred does the spender in a reaction to dazing, and throws Nimrod, so I cannot pick it up, and it goes unpicked up.
I think I can't have I only did my builder.
Oh, you pushed
and my
him then,
builder
or
throw.
something.
Yeah. I did my builder, and my builder can throw.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did not get to pick up the thing he dropped.
Thank God. Yeah. So that happened. I spend the rest of this game trying to bait Nimrod into attacking Ronan again, and Brad does not take the bait. Like Brad does a great job of not being baited into attacking Ronan. I want him to do it so that I can Royal Guardians Karnak into position and have a weakness token on frickin' what's his face, Nimrod. I try to do that for a good portion of this game, and Brad knows me well enough to know that that's what I'm trying to do and not to do it. So that's part of what's happening. The reason I bring Karnak and King Black Bolt in this matchup
is that both of them are able to displace a size 5 model. Karnak, weirdly, can push on a wild trigger non-size dependent. Like there's no size restriction on his push on a wild trigger. Also, interestingly and importantly, it is not a may. I believe that it is a must. Like if you roll a wild, you push them. And that is important to keep in mind. But that didn't come up in this game. Karnak, when he's in position, is doing okay. Like Brad, what did you think of Karnak in this game?
It was not the best he has performed, but he did do a decent amount. Like him not being within 2 is bad, and there were times where I purposely left him stranded. But every time he was close to a model, or even when he moved and made an attack, it was usually pretty good.
Yeah.
He was not the one that failed you.
Right. The person who failed me was King Black Bolt, who has been doing so well for me the rest of the tournament. I also didn't use him very well in this game. I was using him so well earlier in this tournament, and this time I just couldn't figure out where he needed to be able to do the most damage that he could. And you had like this knot of 3 people on your right-hand side that I could have lined up a beam on, and I just never made it happen.
Yeah.
I just never committed him into position where he could do it.
Baron Zemo, Bastion, and Nimrod. And so Baron Zemo was giving the other 2 rerolls, and then that whole knot of people were using the scenario to give each other rerolls on defense.
Yeah, it felt like playing into me.
Yeah.
It
was nice. My 2 Mark IVs were also sitting on the same point for most of the game, giving each other rerolls. And I stuck more of those defensive rerolls than I missed, for sure.
Absolutely. This game was just fate saying, "Oh, you've been having too good of a time here, Fred. It's time for you to realize that this is you're up too high. You're up too high." And I did not roll great. I didn't roll terribly, but I didn't roll great this game. I made some tactical mistakes, and the crisis itself, this pairing of crises, is quite bad. It is really quite bad, to the point where I am contemplating removing this secure and replacing it with deadly meteors. That's what's going through my brain right now. I'm not yet doing that, but that's probably something I should do. Yeah, I end up losing this game pretty handily. He wins 17-6, which is the worst. This is by far the worst I play this tournament. The other game that I lost this tournament, I could have won had the dice been just very slightly in my favor. In this game, that was not the case. I lost the crap out of this game. This was the worst I've been beaten in a while. Thanks, Brad. Good job. Yeah, but Brad, do you have anything else to add about this game?
I don't think so. I really like the threat ranges for this scenario for my guys. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was perfect for you.
it really
Everything was
was.
like the right range. Everything was far enough apart that you could pick them up, but I couldn't.
Baron
Yeah.
Zemo also was a rock star. With a friend giving him a reroll, he survived on one on his flip side. Charges um, behind a truck that Maximus was hanging out behind to kill him, take his scenario, and just sit back there at the end of the game. Uh, eulogy, Baron Zemo.
Hmm.
Eulogy.
Yeah. Yeah, Baron Zemo's good. Really hot take. All right, well, Jeff, why don't you tell us about how your round 4 went?
Sure. So this is the championship game. We're both 3-0, and I'm playing Fred's third round opponent, Jason. This is my second X-Men matchup of the game or the day, which is not very common for us, but now we have a Professor X being played by Jason. And again, Jason's kind of playing this helping out Gladiator list. So a Professor X, Iceman, Gladiator, Magic, who all combine really well to set up a pretty punishing round one, um, you know, basically turn of events where they're all going to have lots of power and they can do lots of damage off Gladiator all round one. And Gambit's there to, hang out, have fun, and throw cards. And I'm playing Black Bolt, Medusa, Ms. Marvel, Baron Zemo, and Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles 2. And we end up playing Mutant Extremis and Infinity Formula here, and at 19th right. So I see the Gladiator thing, and I know I don't really want to dive his side because it's very scary. One thing I didn't quite take into account, I think, is that, Magic walked up, was able to grab her senator, and then, spend her one power because they already played the first class X-Men card, so she could pick up the center for free, spend a one power to teleport backwards, and then send that one power over to Iceman. Iceman's gonna ice slide, or at least whatever his superpower is, to move up Gladiator and pass that power also to Gladiator. And what I end up doing is picking up two centers on my side with Ultimate Spider-Man and then Baron Zemo in the middle. Near the end of this round, Gladiator charges my Baron Zemo and absolutely dazes him, getting two confidence tokens and starting out very strong. And my Baron Zemo drops and his Gladiator picks up. And I do think Jason scores like 5 extracts in the first round. And he also is holding just one of his back Infinity Formula points. So he's scoring like 6 points this first round. I think I'm only scoring like 3. So it's looking pretty tough, but I'm setting up for the next rounds. And Gladiator already has 2 confidence tokens, and Baron Zemo is dazed and waking up. And I don't even think I have priority in the second round either. What ends up happening later on this game is that Zemo survives on his injured side on 1 health for like an insane amount of time, being very effective, spending his power to, poke people with his sword from range 3, plus give out rerolls to all of my team on one flank of the board. Gladiator kind of doesn't do great the rest of the game. His rolls are so what ended up happening in the second round is that he is now has 2 confidence tokens attacking into Baron Zemo, did a little bit of damage, counter strike, take off a confidence token. So now it's kind of like a wash, and then go again, and Baron Zemo doesn't daze or doesn't KO, and now Gladiator's done, and he's kind of in the middle of the board holding an extract, but now he's still, I think, only at 2 confidence tokens because he didn't do any damage on the second attack. Baron Zemo activates because he only has 1 life left, can Steel Rush and take down Gladiator to 1 confidence token, plus move and do another Steel Rush against, I think, Iceman, and give Iceman 4 damage with a bleed, so he's going to bleed out on that round if he doesn't do anything about it. And the Steel Rush moves him onto my back point as well. So Baron Zemo is now going to hide behind a piece of terrain, give out rerolls, and try to hold down my back infinity formula. And Medusa's on that back infinity formula as well, and now she's getting rerolls from herself and from Baron Zemo, and she goes wild on this round, as she does on every single round this game. And I think generally my dice were just better than Jason's dice, and I end up just really phasing a lot of his team in round 2 and 3, and KOing more of his team in round 3, and Gladiator round 3 waking up, I think, with 0 confidence tokens after being dazed in round 2, I think by my Medusa, and he charges in. I don't think he does any damage on that. And then does his beam against 3 of my characters, and I don't think he's able to take down anyone with that either. So Gladiator now has no points, no extract, no confidence tokens, and is just
No
kind of
crypto.
done for the round. What was that?
I said no crypto.
So Gladiator, you live and die by Gladiator dice, and his Gladiator dice did not, help him out here. And Medusa also, I think, was able to take out Professor X and throw Gambit into a piece of terrain to do the last piece of damage to him. And Ms. Marvel was great as well, just on that side, kind of either pulling people in or transforming and high-fiving their faces. And on the other side, my Ultimate Spider-Man and Black Bolt bullied a Magic to death, and I think scored 4 points collectively at the end of that game, and did get Terrigenesis off this game. And Jason just was just his dice were not nearly as hot as mine, and he didn't get activations with a lot of his characters because they were already dazed from my attacks, or Gladiator just didn't do the dice he needed to. So I end up winning this game 16-11, and that is the final game. So I finished the game, or the tournament 4-0.
Congratulations, sir. You have won the first Appalachian Cup match of the 26-27 season. Good job.
Yeah. Currently the leader for a very short amount of time.
Well, are you gonna come to the next event, to the one in Charleston? You coming down?
I doubt it. I doubt I will.
Okay.
But have fun. Good luck.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay, so that is it for this event, for the games that we've played. This was really fun. I do strongly encourage all of our listeners to participate in the Appalachian Cup. It is a lot of fun. We will call out when there are events. We have tentative dates. I think they're more than tentative. I think they're set for most months of this year, I think.
The next 3 after this are definitely set. I know when the next 2 after that are supposed to be, but I don't think that is public knowledge. So we'll just sit on.
They're
that.
not set yet. Okay.
Yeah.
We will call them out when they get closer. And yeah, come on down. Please participate. They are fun and enjoyable.
I think everyone had a great time with this event. I think it was a really good day, and I think everyone liked playing the new crises. So, really
I
good time to
agree.
play MCP.
Yeah, I appreciate these new crises. I like them personally. I think that Inhumans are also specifically good into a lot of these crises. But yeah,
Which is funny because we're coming off a season of Inhuman crises, space crises, and now we're going into mutant crises, but now Inhumans are good.
I would say that the Inhuman-based crises were bad for Inhumans. Like the one that
Yeah, you're probably
poisoned,
right.
yeah, the one that poisoned people was they were fine because they weren't poisoned, but you also never took it because it wasn't a civilian. All
Yeah,
right.
that one wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, mine either. All right, let's move on to the person that we are here to cover today. That person being Ms. Marvel. All right, Ms. Marvel, otherwise known as Kamala Khan. Her defenses are 3, 4, and 3. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to decouple this a little bit because she has two phases. She has a small phase and an embiggened phase. Uh, in both phases, she is a medium mover, but in her small phase, she is size 2, and in her embiggened phase, she is size 4.
And
Uh,
importantly, on her small phase, she's on a small base, and on her embiggen phase, she's on a big base. And so
yes,
this definitely matters. And it's a transform character, so now when you're transforming to the small base, the big base has to be within range 1, but you're already getting kind of a little interesting movement tech.
that is true. She has 5 stamina on both sides of her card, and she is a 3-threat model. She is also affiliated with the Avengers and the Inhumans affiliations. Brad, why don't you do her attacks?
All right. On her normal form, she has a physical attack that's range 4, 4 dice cost 0, gain a power, wild push, size 2 or less before damage is dealt. You can push any direction short. In her embiggened form, she has
It's
a
towards short, sorry.
towards. Oh yeah, I did miss that
Yeah.
word.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's a pull in,
Towards
basically.
short.
You're going to pull in someone towards her.
Yeah. Uh, physical high 5, range 3, 5 dice cost 0. After attack is resolved, gain power equal to the damage dealt.
Okay, Brandon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's been a while since I've talked to you. Sorry. Why don't you do the superpowers on the left side of her card?
Her first is an active superpower called Embiggened. For 3 power, this character transforms into Miss Marvel Embiggened. This superpower can only be used once per turn. Her second superpower is also active. It's called Take Out the Trash. For 3 power, choose an interactive terrain feature or enemy character, both size 2 or less, within 3 and through small. Can only be used once per turn. She has the innate Inhuman superpower, which this character may reroll 1 die in its attack or defense rolls, and she is immune to poison.
And Jeff, why don't you do the superpowers on the right-hand side of her card?
I'm sorry, did we do the attack on the right hand side as well?
Yes, I did.
Oh, we
both.
did.
Okay, okay, sorry. Yes, so she continues to have the Inhuman innate on the right side, the embiggened side, so may reroll 1 dice in attack or defense. She now has Morphogenetics innate superpower, which says when making attacks, if you're targeting a character smaller than this character, and remember she is size 4, so if you're targeting 3, 2, or 1, you may reroll 2 of your attack dice, and at the end of your activation, you're going to transform back into your normal form. Additionally, she has innate superpower called Polymorph, which is may interact with objective tokens within range 2 instead of range 1, and she's still immune to poison.
All right, and that is the rather strangely laid out on her card, Ms. Marvel. All
I
right.
think I like this layout, Fred.
Yeah, it is whenever there's a a character transformation, like with Ant-Man or Wasp or Ms. Marvel, it's laid out like this, where there's one side of the card is their normal, and the other side is their transformed state.
Yeah, I
I'm
prefer
going
this
to
to 2 cards. I can put
I
both
agree.
models on this card and represent both sides of the card and tell my opponent what they do.
I agree. I do prefer this to like the Emma Frost transformation where it's two cards or Carol Danvers.
The hood,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, the hood. Jeff, I do not have Miss Marvel. I do not have her in my roster. I have not really been drawn to bring her in Inhumans. Uh, Sell me on this character. What am I missing? Why should I put this person in my Inhumans roster?
Oh, this character does so much. I think she's great in many situations. I think she's a great three threat to park on a back point. Her four range attack will sometimes pull in enemy characters. This can pull them off of points. It can pull them into your threat ranges, where now Black Bolt or Medusa are doing attacks to them. And that is an amazing effect you want on a character. Gorgon, Karnak, Quicksilver, none of the other three threats do this type of thing. Ms. Marvel also, when she transforms, so like I said, she's going to get a little bit of movement tech because now she's putting a large base model range 1 off her small base and then has a range 3 attack off of that large base. So you're probably going to be able to hit people within a bigger range than you think. This is now 5 dice physical. You're going to get 2 rerolls when targeting a size 3, 2, or 1 character, plus an Inhuman reroll. So I think she's hitting more like a 4 to 5 threat on her transform side. And because it's just so consistent, you're going to get 4 to 5 successes on this attack pretty consistently, in my experience. And that just feels great. I think she does an enormous amount of damage when she can transform and just high five someone consistently. And when she's doing high five, it goes from a gainer to equal to damage dealt. So now she's going to be getting, like I said, 4 to 5 power because you're doing 4 to 5 damage on a 5 dice physical attack. She can whiff this, but she's going to transform backwards and then maybe be out of their threat range. So in that way, she can kind of get into a range where she can attack a character and then get out of a range where they can attack back. And that also is good because she can stay on a back point and do that. Interacting with range 2 is sometimes helpful. Obviously, Toad has this, and one of the reasons Toad is so powerful is because it can interact range 2. It does help her in the later rounds to pay to flip and grab an extract or source tokens. There's going to be a lot more source tokens, obviously, this season. So interacting range 2 is going to be really helpful for her, I think. The one awkward thing on her card is just her throw is on her small size. And so you're kind of choosing, if you only have a couple power, do I want to transform or do I want to throw? Now the throw is also another way that you can you can definitely get someone off a point, a size 2 person. You can throw them short off a point, which is great. Or you can throw size 2 terrain into someone, and I think that's pretty effective to also try to finish them off. I do think this card is just really solid. I started playing her when I was playing Inhuman Queen Medusa when that came out, and I was just testing stuff, and I found so many uses for her. In my list, there's a lot of 3-threat Inhumans, and Ms. Marvel is, I think, the first one I look at when I'm deciding who to take.
All right. Well, I believe there are 6 3-threat Inhumans.
They're
in
really, really, embarrassingly rich with 3 threats. Yes.
It's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems with this model, I think, is that she is in competition with people like Karnak, with Gorgon, with Quicksilver, with these high. I don't know why I said Quicksilver.
With Crystal and Lockjaw as well. Yeah.
Yeah, with high performing models, and I'm already rich with 3 threats. My roster is loaded with them. So
I'm not sure if you're still taking Crystal, but I would tell you to take Ms. Marvel over Crystal, I think.
okay, I do take Crystal. I have had Crystal do the Lord's work before. It is not every game, and sometimes she does absolutely nothing. But she is. Oh, okay. We're not here to discuss Crystal though.
No, I think Ms. Marvel hits above her weight. I think people ignore her, and if they have to take her out, they then have to put enough resources in that they're not putting into other places on the board. I think she just is a very solid model.
Okay. Okay. All right, Brad. What's your take on Ms. Marvel?
Okay, so I've only played her a couple times. I actually love Miss Marvel from the comics. I just haven't played a lot of lists that could use her. And my problem that I've had with her that maybe isn't as big of a problem if you're playing Black Bolt leadership is just getting enough power to consistently embiggen. Um, Especially the first time. Like, it seems like once she has done that in high five, she's probably going to roll in to keep doing it. But she can't uh, very easily get it going the first time. She has to not interact the first turn and then make a morpho punch second turn to then have enough power to do the embiggen and only get one attack from the embiggen form that turn she transforms, that first time she transforms. I would like to see this go down to um, cost two, and her gain some health, like everyone's gonna gain. But Jeff's right about the consistency. Like, the math of her is good. Like, Fred, you were talking about sometimes Crystal does the Lord's work. She's rolling. Crystal's rolling 4 to 5 dice, right?
Yeah, usually 4, but every once in a while 5.
And sometimes those dice just go through. Miss Marvel's gonna roll 4 to 5 dice, and on the 5 dice, they're gonna go through.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with an extra roll from Maximus. You're rolling 5 dice and then getting one reroll, 2 rerolls.
Uh-huh.
Those are going to be very consistently hits.
Yeah.
That is the
You're
strength
right.
of this model for sure. Is how consistently she is getting like 4 or 5 successes.
And you're definitely right. I think the play around her is, when can you embiggen? Can you make sure you're doing it round two? And if you're doing that, making sure you're getting power to do it every round after that point.
Yes.
Because if you can embiggen and then turn on kind of this vicious cycle where I'm getting enough power to embiggen next turn as well, I'm going to always be smacking someone within range, like basically 4 from her small side for a ton of damage.
Yeah.
And either you need to sit her on a back point that you don't have to pay to flip, and she can do one attack in the first round, and then she gets power in the second round to get to 3, or Infinity Formula or something, or Black Bolt, obviously, as well, to get her to 3 power at the start of her second round.
And there is like a lot of Jeff talked about this on her small side. There is a lot of possible displacement and very scenario thing. So she does have like 2 good modes where she would be good for different things in different scenarios. Like, rereading this card again, I played her like just not even that long ago, but rereading her card now again, I'm like, maybe I do need to, like, I don't know, play her in X-Men or something.
And we need to discuss if she is going to be affiliated there eventually, right?
That is a possibility. She is now a mutant, and she has been on a team called X-Men.
Oh boy.
I would love to see her in mutant affiliations.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brandon is. I need to call on you more, Brandon. What are your takes?
You don't
here?
need to.
Yes, I do.
Because I'm just gonna be a party pooper. I don't think this model is very good. I think size 2 characters see less play than they used to. The math just doesn't seem like the odds of getting 5 damage on her Embiggen side is under 8%. The average is like 2.5 damage on Embiggen's side, and
I didn't say 8.
two.
I didn't mean 8 damage. I mean, sorry,
Oh,
5
8 damage
damage.
is zero point
No, no,
zero
no,
eight
sorry, sorry,
percent.
sorry. I didn't mean 5 damage. I meant
You actually
5
that wasn't to
successes.
you.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Jeff
I
has
said 4 to
said,
5 damage. I mean, I
yeah,
think that maybe is a little higher, but
which is roughly 12% chance.
which is what, 4 damage or 3 damage?
4 to 5 damage. The average
Okay.
is 2.7 with the
Yeah.
rerolls, which isn't bad. Which is actually really good for a 3-threat character. Like it's not bad. I think her power economy is just not great. I think she's been outclassed. I think she's probably going to get a rework. Because I don't think she does enough. I think like in the scenario of like King Buckle, like you can do a lot to make it good, but like I feel like there's so many other 3-threat characters you can play that just do more than she does, and can do a lot more stuff. But like she's not bad. I mean, she's 5 years old at this point, if not maybe a little bit older. Like she was out a long time ago. So she's definitely better than Crystal. Hold on, I don't want to pretend like I'm not defending Crystal in this scenario, and I'll never defend Crystal in this scenario. I do think she's probably been criminally underplayed in Inhumans since the release of like Karnak and Gorgon. I feel like they kind of forced her out. I've always felt, even when I've played against this character, it's never felt like they did a whole lot. I wish she had like a true spender. I think that's like the only thing that she's really missing is like when she dazes, if she's pumped up with power, there's just not a whole lot she can do with it. Like if she's going into a turn on her injured side with like 9 power, there's just not anything you're doing with it. And that feels rough.
I do wish she had some way to sync power at the end of some high fives where you get a lot of power. All you
Yeah,
can do
that's what I'm
really is
saying.
retransform, and that feels not great. Now,
Yeah.
Terrigenesis is something she can spend power on, but yeah, I wish she had some like range 2 or range 3 big step kind of embiggened superpower.
Yeah, I feel like they could at the way the characters have came out in this game, I feel like there's a 4-threat Miss Marvel that could be super awesome that has like a multi-power like step, like a really big like punch attack, like and you can still kind of go between forms. Like I think there's something they could really do with it. But like it just kind of feels like she's not the only one. Like there are a lot of the older 3-threat characters specifically that like sometimes you just like Hawkeye. Sometimes you just have 9 power on Hawkeye and you're just sitting there like, okay, cool. He's just never gonna touch this power, and it feels bad when you're like looking down and like so, like say you whiff on your both attacks and you look down, and you're like, well, at least I still have 9 power left, and you're like, oh well, good thing I can't do a single thing with it. Just
Yeah,
feels bad. Just feels bad.
I think that the issue that I have with Miss Marvel is that I think that the thing that really draws me to her is honestly the movement shenanigans that the embiggen and then the re-ensmallening allows for. Like with no movement, you can be pretty far from where you started your turn, which that's neat. That's nifty. Um, I she's just in competition with a bunch of threes. Gorgon and Karnak specifically, like I can't see a reason why I would take her over Gorgon or Karnak. I think that both of them are just
Do you wanna
they're not better in every regard, but they are more universally useful on the table than she would be.
I
Uh,
think they definitely have different threat ranges, and like I said, Miss Marvel on a back infinity is I think a lot better than a Gorgon or a Karnak who basically need range 2 to be doing
that's true.
attacks.
The person that she is most in conflict with for me is probably Crystal.
and
Crystal sucks,
because
so I don't know.
like she's the fourth 3 threat that I would grab in any circumstance, and the question is whether I replace Crystal with Ms. Marvel, right? The
Or
one
any
issue
other
that I
3 threat in the entire game.
the issue that I have with doing this, with replacing Crystal with Ms. Marvel, is a card that's called Elemental Infusion. Elemental Infusion is a Crystal-specific card that is, eye forward, excellent. It is a great card. For 1 turn, while Crystal is not dazed, so there is an off switch to this, but for 1 turn, if an enemy model takes damage from a friendly effect within range 3 of Crystal, they gain Incinerate, Slow, or Stun. It's my choice.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. That is an outstanding way to put out a bunch of really effective conditions that are specifically for Crystal. I do really like some of the kit that's here on Miss Marvel. I like being able to pull people off of points. That's good. It's on a wild trigger, which is unlikely, but with the rerolls that I would bring if I play Maximus the Mad, it's more likely than before. I don't hate this. I don't hate this.
I think
It,
my experience is also colored a little bit by I'm bringing 4 secures I think she is good on. So Superpower Scoundrels, Infinity Formula, Guardians, and Meteors, I think she is all very solid on. And so I
right.
like bringing her in all 4 of those. Plus, I'm bringing Namor and Zemo and giving her extra rerolls sometimes, and that will also help her be more consistent and just do more damage or be more
Yeah.
defensive. Which, again,
Right.
I wish she was a little more health, which she hopefully will get.
Yes. Yeah. I also feel like she needs some sort of defensive tech. Something. I guess her defensive tech is just the Inhuman reroll. But
Basically, yeah.
yeah.
She just needs a way to spend power. Like, she just needs
Like maybe if
something.
she got like some way to buff her defense dice as a reactive super. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I think the thing I've pitched before is that her transform is kind of the most awkward one, where she only does it during her activation, and then she retransforms at the end of her activation. And if there's a way to get her to stay in embiggen form into her next turn, or do something where the transform isn't purely during her activation, is going to be really helpful for her.
Right. Yeah, that would definitely help. Okay. There are a couple tactics cards that are specific for Ms. Marvel that we should talk about. The first one being a Better Tomorrow. It is an unaffiliated active tactics card. If Miles Morales is within range 2 of an allied Ms. Marvel, normal, both characters may spend 2 power each to play this card. Ms. Marvel, normal, transforms into Ms. Marvel Embiggened. When resolving this transformation, place Ms. Marvel Embiggened within range 3 instead of range 1. Then place Miles Morales within range 1 of Ms. Marvel Embiggened. This is fun. And this is a way to be embiggened outside of her activation.
Yes, it is.
This,
Yes,
yeah.
and it's cheaper than a normal transformation. It's 2 instead
Yes, it
of
is.
3.
Yeah, so I like this. This actually is quite a good little movement shenanigans tool that Miles Morales and Ms. Marvel bring to the table. And your roster contained Ultimate Spider-Man in this
Yes.
tournament.
So the
So
nice
tell
thing,
me.
how did this
Go ahead. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes,
How's this
the
go?
nice thing about this card is that Miles Morales can refer to either Spider-Man Miles 1 or Ultimate Spider-Man Miles 2. And I have Miles 2 in my list, and I've taken out Miles 1, but this card still works. And in Black Bolt, you can pass power to make sure they can do this on round 1, which is interesting, but not always what you want to be doing. But you could. And then later in the round, you can also do this. Like we said, it's a way that Ms. Marvel can embiggen for cheaper and range 3 outside of her activation. Plus, it's a huge movement range for Miles Morales often. So you're putting them into the mix, and often you're also doing 2 attacks at the end of this tactics card. So I would say this card represents just a big movement for 2 characters in one round that you really want to be somewhere where you can then do some really effective attacks against people. And I think with more practice, I could get better at using this card. I've brought it this tournament and wasn't able to use it, but I had the option to round one. And in fact, it did make Tom not put his characters in the middle of the board because I was going to better tomorrow both my characters up and start wailing on his characters. So, yeah, I think it's good. You have to be practice with it. You have to know when you're bringing it and when you want to use it. But is it an always card? No. Is it even in the 10 always? I don't know if it is, but I think it's really fun.
Okay. Brad, what do you think about this card?
I am surprised to hear anyone is playing this card.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not that it's bad, it's just so restrictive. Like, you have to be playing
It is. Yeah.
both these characters. And
These characters don't share an affiliation.
No, they should.
No. They should.
But I think that Miles is a person who gets splashed,
True.
and this is
But Miss Marvel's
isn't
not.
correct, right? This isn't the most restrictive card just for that reason. Like, Miles will perform if you bring him in outside of his affiliation. But yes, you're
This
right.
card
This
gets
is,
a lot better if they actually pull the trigger on the champions.
Yeah.
if
Yeah, I'm
there's
really
an
hoping for the
affiliation.
future proofing there because it's unaffiliated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. Brandon, what do you think about this card?
It's a card that exists. If you want to play it out of activation movements, always not always a good thing. Otherwise, it's fine.
I should
There
also
are
say
worse cards.
yeah, there were. This can be on anyone's activation, right? Like, this doesn't have to be on either of their activations, so they can be pretty far from where they started, and it not even be their activation.
There's also the cool, like, getting her embiggened like on your opponent's turn can prevent your opponent from moving her because she switches sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there's stuff here. This card has stuff that's worth bringing. It's
Yeah.
there's just like the problem that if you're playing like both Miles, like you again probably aren't really playing Miss Marvel, and if you're playing, but like so it comes down to the scenario that like Jefferson, where it's like if you're playing Miss Marvel, like Miles, both Miles fit really well in the like into like complementary, so it's like it's probably the only place it's probably gonna exist. Like, and I like that. I guess the hard part is probably pitting it in your 5. Like, even if you're playing both models, I feel like that might end up being a little tough to get it in there because Inhumans have so many good cards.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's this card, A Better Tomorrow. Let's talk about another team up card that Ms. Marvel has access to. That one called Fan Club. It is an unaffiliated reactive tactics card. When an allied Captain Marvel Carol Danvers uses the Danvers special superpower, the binary form superpower, or the rocket punch attack, after the effect or attack is resolved, an allied Ms. Marvel may spend 3 power to play this card. If Captain Marvel used the Danvers special superpower, Ms. Marvel may throw an interactive terrain feature or enemy character of size 3 or less within range 2. It is thrown short. If Captain Marvel used the binary form superpower, Ms. Marvel, normal, may transform into Ms. Marvel, embiggened. After transforming, push all enemy characters within range 2 of Ms. Marvel away short in the order of your choosing. If Captain Marvel used the rocket punch attack, Ms. Marvel may advance medium towards the target character. All right. So this is a team up card with 4 threat Carol Danvers. What does everyone think about this card?
If the previous one was a weird match, I guess they do share an affiliation. They are both Avengers, so this not impossible. It's just you're taking the 4 threat version of a character where the 5 threat version is considered much better. No shade on 4 threat Carol Danvers. She's good, but 5 threat Carol Danvers is a very good model. And then you're also playing Ms. Marvel in Avengers, which is an affiliation that if Inhumans is loaded with 3 threats, Avengers, man,
Yeah,
is
it's very thematic at
swimming.
least. Ms.
Yeah, that's
Marvel
true.
is a huge fan of Captain Marvel, so we have fan club. And when
Yeah,
Captain Marvel does something cool, Ms. Marvel fans out and does something as well.
I like that. Like it's thematic. This is very thematic, where Ms. Marvel is just inspired by the actions of Captain Marvel.
Yes, until Captain Marvel becomes a fascist, but that's different.
Jeff, what do you think about this card?
Um, yeah, I think all the problems with the previous card are even bigger problems here in that Avengers have really good tactics cards, and Captain Marvel is not a character played as much in Avengers as other 4 threats, and Ms. Marvel is not played often with her, and you have to be doing one of specific Captain Marvel actions to get another specific Ms. Marvel action that you want both of, which might not always happen. And yeah, the tactics and characters just don't quite work here. So I think it's interesting. I think it's way less useful than the other card, even though it does have some really great effects here. I just don't think these two characters are together a lot.
Right. I think that this card also has to happen on Carol Danvers' turn, and in which case you're not really able to uh, line up exactly the best case scenario with Ms. Marvel. Like, there's the one where she becomes embiggened and pushes all the enemies away, but you don't really get to line that up. I guess you do get to place the embiggened. You can place it anywhere within range 1 of where she is, but the effects are also, I don't know. I don't. They're good. They're good effects, but I don't know. Are they worth 3 power? This is just an at-home fun table card. What's the term we use? A dinner table card?
Kitchen table?
Kitchen table card. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for telling me the term that we used here on this podcast. Yeah, this is a kitchen table card where it's fun, it's thematic, it's not competitive. I'm gonna throw it to Brad. Brad, what do you think?
God, I really want 4 threat Carol to be playable. I was just looking at her card again since we were discussing this, and binary forms still cost 4 power to do. It used to cost more, and that's just crazy. That feels like the wrong number in today's game. Um, I think the effects on this are good. I think this is a fun play for fun card. It's never going to be competitive, although it does. I just said I wanted to play Miss Marvel in X-Men. It seems like a good place for her. Maybe throw 4 threat Captain Marvel in there too for fun.
Okay.
Under Xavier, I think there's a list brewing in my head.
And Brad, I was correct about this, right? So like Ms. Marvel was created, she's a fan of Captain Marvel,
Uh
and then
huh.
Civil War II happens and is no longer a fan.
That
Is
was a
disillusioned at
that
least.
that was a rough time that made Kamala realize that um, Carol is a real person who can make mistakes and is not like a fangirl of hers anymore, but is feels more like a peer to her. Like at that point, it was a turning point in their relationship. Um, Miss Marvel's reaction to what Carol was doing is one of the reasons Carol figured out she was doing the wrong thing. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Great.
yeah.
All right. Well, Brandon, I'm gonna let you have a say on this card. What do you think?
You don't really need to. I stopped paying attention after like the first sentence. This is
Okay.
one of those
All right.
cards that just has so much on it, and like it doesn't matter.
Brandon can't read.
Like, yeah, I just can't read, guys. That's really the thing. But yeah, it's just if you watch the Marvels movie and you want to play those models and you want to play this card, have the best time of your life.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, we need to give a letter grade to Ms. Marvel. All right. So I have not really played this model at all. I think I've played against her maybe once or twice, and those times she didn't really comport herself all that well on the table. Um, this is a deep roster three in a team that is very heavy on threes. I know, Jeff, that you like her a lot. I know that you speak highly of her. I'm just not sold. I'm not sold. I think that this is a B minus model and maybe a C plus model. I'll be honest. I think I'm gonna say a C plus model. I might be being too harsh on her. Uh, but I like
The question is for me between her or Crystal. And while I think that neither one of them are models that are in the top tier of 3-threat models in the game, absolutely. But Crystal brings a very good tactics card, and Miss Marvel does not. That's where I'm at. Brad, what do you want to say about Ms. Marvel?
I think she's a B.
Okay. Brandon, what are you gonna give to Ms. Marvel?
I would like to preface your comments based on the fact that there were two Inhumans players in the tournament. One played Miss Marvel, and one didn't. And the one who did won, and the other Inhumans player played against a faction that played like Inhumans in one game and got throttled. So, grain of salt on some opinions there. But
Hey,
I
I think that our listeners know full well that Jeff is a better player than me.
um, and I'm glad that there's people who have success with this model. And I hope they continue. I think this model is. I think you can tell that this model was 5 years old. I think, to be fair, she's still better than Crystal, but I think I'm at a solid C. I don't see it. I don't see any reason to ever really take her unless you're trying to.
All right, Jeff, what letter grade are you going to give to Ms. Marvel?
Yes, I was here to sing her praises, which I successfully, I think, said my piece. But I'm under no illusion she's an A model. I think she's very good under the right scenarios and in the right teams and with a pilot who knows her well. And I think she's a B model. And I really want her to get a little buffs. And I think she's a great, solid addition to teams. And I think people should play her more. She's a dated character, but her combination of effects, I think, are really great and give you a lot of options here. And I think she's one of the better transform characters we now have after they tried a bunch of transform characters. So I think she's a B model.
Okay. All right. That is our take on Kamala Khan. Hey, Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Ms. Marvel?
I sure do. So the first one is actually two series, Miss Marvel 2014 and Miss Marvel 2015. These really would have been one series, except they did this event called Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman, and they canceled every series, did the crossover, and then started new series. Some of them were brand new, some of them were just literally a continuation of what was coming before, just with a new number one. So that's what happened here. This is G. Willow Wilson and Adrian Alfano, and this is the introduction to Miss Marvel. So Kamala Khan is a teenage Pakistani American girl who's exposed to Terrigen Mist and gains superpowers. She has to deal with her family and school problems as she uses her new powers to protect Jersey City from the weird things that happen there. This is a modern story that is very similar, like a similar vibe to the original Amazing Spider-Man series. And Kamala, even if you don't like, I don't have a Pakistani background, she still feels very relatable, even if you're not from that background, and you can't help but root for her. Um, she's got kind of a friendship slash crush with a boy who her parents absolutely would never let her date. Um, she meets a guy that she really likes that her parents would approve of. Turns out he's a supervillain. So it's got that like teen core thing that Spider-Man had that is a lot of fun. Like is very enjoyable comic to read.
Brad, would you say this is one of the more popular characters created in the last 15 years?
Yeah, there's really just two that have stuck that have been like I'd say like post 2000 that have stuck and are actually big and popular. Miles Morales and Miss Marvel.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the two characters post 2000 that people actually know about. Like people who are not even comics readers know about those characters.
Speaking of, I know before we even did this, before we even did anything related to Marvel or Marvel Crisis Protocol, I knew about Ms. Marvel,
Yeah.
and that's because, like, it kind of became this zeitgeist thing
Uh-huh.
that developed when I think it was in 2015. Did you say when did you say this came out?
2014-15. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a zeitgeist about this new interesting character coming out of the Marvel universe, and
Oh.
I've heard of it. And this is me who knows nothing about this and does not live in the comic book world. So, yeah.
There's a number 3 that's not quite as big as Miles and Kamala that people outside of comics do know, and it's X-23, but she's at least a shelf down from these two. Um,
Yeah, because I don't think they even name check her as that in the Logan movie, right?
uh, yeah, and that even if they don't know her as X-23, they know her as Laura,
You're
and
right.
and
Yeah.
and X-Men Evolution. A lot of people know her from that, which was her first appearance. But that's all a tangent. Um, the next thing I have to recommend is two miniseries by the same creative team. They came out one right after another. The first one's Miss Marvel New Mutant, and the other one is Miss Marvel Mutant Menace. This is Aman Vellani. Fred, do you know who that is?
That is the person who plays Ms. Marvel on the TV show, right?
That is correct. Sabir Perzada and Carlos Gomez. Miss Marvel just found out she's a mutant. She found out in a pretty terrible way. Spoilers. She dies protecting Spider-Man, and they resurrect her. So they
Using the mutant resurrection.
Yep. And then Krakoa is attacked, and the mutants are driven from the island. And it's a bad start to being a mutant. She dies. The homeland she just finds literally gets destroyed. Not well, eventually. To protect her, Emma Frost takes away the knowledge of who Miss Marvel really is from her family and friends and stuff. So they forget that Kamala and Miss Marvel are the same person. And Miss Marvel has to deal with the real cost of being a mutant, which is being hated for no reason. Miss Marvel was a pretty popular in-universe superhero. Like, people thought that she was doing good and was a good person. And then suddenly a lot of people don't trust her because she is a mutant, including a guy trying to kill her that is her cousin.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think this was really cool because this is
Yeah,
the actress, right? And she
yeah,
was a fan of the comics and then became an actress and then went on to write more comics.
yeah,
So it's really great circle there.
yeah. She super knowledgeable about the Marvel universe. Um,
She's
honest,
very Gwenpool-esque.
yeah. Honestly, I say give her Kevin Feige's job, but that's just a personal opinion. Um, because she wouldn't have made the mistake of calling the movie universe the 616. She knows it's Earth 199999.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right.
I just fell asleep.
So that's I understand the other opinion. That was terrible. If they ever tried to call it that, I would
They just shouldn't
leave.
have said a number. They shouldn't have said a number. Okay. My last recommendation for her is actually an ongoing series that is happening right now, called Inglorious X Force. It's by Tim Seeley, Jordan Bloom, and Michael Maria, but there's an STA period in between those two names, and I had no idea what that was. Couldn't figure out what it was. I just included it here. So it's Michael Sta Maria. I don't know. Cable is back from the future after watching President Kamala Khan being assassinated by a mutant. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember who it is and only has a short list of names written on his metallic arm to go by. Collecting the potential assassins and Kamala into a team, he's keeping an eye on the situation to try to figure out who the assassin is to stop them while Kamala is still a teen. Um, it's been very good so far. I've really enjoyed this comic, and she is pretty important to the story. Um, yeah, Domino
Brad,
Okay.
Domino's in this and has a squirrel sidekick. Yeah, Jeff, what do you need?
I loved reading Ms. Marvel comics through the Krakoan era, which is basically these two miniseries here, and then
Yeah.
started reading the Knicks, which is kind of 20
Uh,
something mutants in New York.
yes.
Is that a good series?
I really liked NYX, and I think it was canceled too soon. It has a lot of big ideas. Feels like the only series that really followed up on Krakoa. So if you liked Krakoa, I really highly recommend it. Um, each, I almost put it down, but I'd already put those two miniseries, so I just jumped a little further ahead. Each issue has a different point of view character. So she gets her issues, and she's in all of them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like Wolverine, Laura Kinney gets focus issues. Annalay, the gay lizard. I almost said Pokemon. X-Men gets gets his highlight, and it's really telling a story of this community in diaspora coming together to keep their culture, their Krakoan
Mm-hmm.
culture, and I really enjoyed it. I wish it would have kept going, but it's so hard to have the sales Marvel expects you to have to keep
Mm-hmm.
going as a series. Pretty much everything gets canceled in 5 to 10 issues, no matter what.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it was in the last 5 years of Ms. Marvel comics. I mean, she was an amazing Spider-Man. It was insane to me that they had her die,
Yeah,
and they had to have her come back somehow. So I'm so glad that she's now a mutant and they
yeah,
could resurrect her that way.
yeah,
And that's happened since she came out in our game. So hopefully she gets
yes,
a new affiliation and can be
yeah.
put into some mutant affiliations as well. And
They
really cool.
they
What was
knew
that?
they knew how they were bringing her back before they killed her. Um,
Yeah, it's just a lot of that ASM run I don't love, and that's part of the
yeah.
I one of the ideas I don't love.
Uh, Miss Marvel, just going back to her beginning, G. Willow Wilson had this idea for the character and was going to make her a mutant. But that was still when Fox had the movie rights and they were trying not to push mutants very much. And so Marvel told her that she had to make Miss Marvel an Inhuman instead. And so
So now that's his complicated background of
yeah,
half inhuman, half mutant. Plus, in the
Yeah.
TV show, I think it's like a space wristband that
Yeah,
gives her
there's a
powers.
wristband.
except in the after credit scene of the TV series of the last episode of the TV series, it is confirmed that she is a mutant.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And that and in the she now we know what her mutant powers are in the comics, and they are hard light constructs like the TV show. So she's got stretchy inhuman powers and hard light mutant powers.
There's one other thing I just read, which was that she does have healing factor, but only she can do it and she can't embiggen at the same time. So it's kind of
Right.
a trade-off. Is that
Yes.
something? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see that on her card sometime.
It's part of her like stretching and morphing powers. She can also shape change to look like other people.
Right. Which is why she was looking like Mary Jane when she was murdered.
Yes, yeah. She doesn't do it very often, but she can. She can also shrink teeny tiny, like action figure sized, and run around. And it's funny how her powers work because they have to like try to make it sciency. When she is embiggening, she is borrowing mass from when she gets teeny tiny in her personal timeline, some other time in her personal timeline. So there is some time travel stuff messed up in her like stretching powers.
Okay.
So she spends a lot more time when she's older being small.
Well, she does it a lot in the comics. I don't
Okay.
I don't know like why they chose to only show this aspect of her. But that's
All
what
right.
they did.
Well,
She's great. I love her.
we are getting late in the episode. I believe we're over 2 hours, we're closing in on it. The only thing that's left in the show is my non sequitur recommendation. So, as it was stated previously, this character was played by Iman Vellani, and here's the thing: she is a very young actress. She does not have very many credits, and I have not seen anything else she's in other than her work in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm just going to recommend a show, or I should say a movie, that I watched recently that I very much enjoyed, and that is the movie No Other Choice by director Park Chan-wook. This is a Korean language, very like coal black dark comedy about a paper executive who loses his job and decides the only way for him to get his job back and the life that he wants to live is to murder all the other candidates that would be better at his job than he is, and then take the job for himself. And this is both a hysterically funny and deeply troubling look at how the capitalist nature of South Korea has created a circumstance where someone has to murder the people that they would most be friends with in order to survive in the life that they want to live. It is outstanding. Are any of you familiar with the other movies by Park Chan-wook? He made Old Boy, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. He made what's another one? I forget what it's called, but there's one where it's a murder investigation on the line in between the North and South Korea. These are great movies, and this is maybe his best movie, I think. it is very good. It is very entertaining. There's a fight sequence that I was cackling laughing during, and it's because a man he's trying to shoot the man who he thinks is going to take his job, and he's so bad at it. And then that man's wife comes in and tries to take the gun. I can't describe it. It is the funniest action scene I've ever seen.
I'm just
That is. Go ahead.
I'm just imagining he kills all these people and then loses the job to the CEO's nephew who's incompetent.
So, I don't want to say.
Right, yeah.
It is a movie that is worth watching, and it is a movie where he genuinely likes and empathizes with every single man that he kills, and he still kills them because he wants the life that he thinks he is owed more than he wants to have a community or friends that he would love, because he likes and befriends every single one of the people that he murders. It is bleak as hell, and it is a great movie. Highly recommend. It is called No Other Choice, by director Park Chan-wook. And that is it for our show today. I want to thank everyone out there for listening. I want to thank Jeff. Jeff, thank you for coming onto our show, granting us some degree of credibility. Yeah, it's always nice having you on. Do you have the last time you were here, you were writing articles for I forget the name of the store.
Yeah.
Online gaming. Yeah. Are there any others of those that you want to direct people towards?
Yes, I will be writing up my tournament experience here shortly. That should be hopefully published next week. My recent article was also about the new crises and how you might play them and who you might play on them. So if you're interested in learning new crises from Marvel Crisis Protocol, go check that article out. It's on Frontline Gaming. I write under the name Rolf the Dog, and that's the MCP content on that website. So frontlinegaming.org.
Well, there you go. Everyone go check that out. Thank you, Brandon, for being here today. And thank you to Brad for running everything and making this podcast actually happen. Goodbye, everybody, and have wonderful games of Marvel Crisis Protocol.